and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo, alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk weekend. And as per usual, I am joined by my partner in crime, Smack Talks. How you doing, mate?
Alright man, I'm doing well. How's you?
I'm very good, thank you very much. And it's been quite an interesting week in the world of wrestling. We've got a new League of Nations. Yeah, that's a turnout for the books.
It is. It's a good faction to put together, though. Gets a lot of people that weren't doing too much into the main event status.
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a good amount of people in there, but it's just a bit of an interesting way the way it came about. I mean, Sheamus's personality has increased like tenfold. The way he's jiving with the New Day. I'm not really sure where this Sheamus came from.
I think he's just happy at the minute. He's got his championship, and he doesn't have to fight Randy Orton anymore. What else could be better for him?
I know, yeah. Unfortunately for Randy Orton, it's not such good news. But for Sheamus, I mean, it's party time all the time. He should remind Adam Rose of that gimmick.
He should do. He can get him back into it. Come up with the rest of the Rosebuds and really kickstart that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the League of Nations. That's coming up today on We Talk. We're also going to... I think we should really cover this Sheamus personality shift because I'm a little bit concerned about it because it could make him become a little bit of a laughable champion, but we'll talk about that. And as well, Rusev and Lana, just to clarify with you, Lana did not go all the way with Dolph.
And Rusev did not go all the way with Summer. They've been saving themselves for each other.
I said to you before we went on We Talk that I could probably rant about Rusev and Lana for the full hour of We Talk. Oh my god. We won't start We Talk with the rant, but yeah.
It's good to see that true love is finally conquered, though. Love conquers all.
Well, there's a lot to talk about this. I mean, how bad this has been, how terrible it's been put together, and also as well, she's potentially in. I don't know if you saw the Michael Cole interview on WWE.com, but
I haven't seen that.
But she's gradually dropping the voice. She's gradually dropping the Russian accent.
Is she?
Well, she either that or she couldn't be asked to do it on that because you could clearly hear the American accent throughout that interview.
I'll have to double check that because I didn't see the interview, so I don't know how she sounded. But I would have thought that's a bit of a weird time to do that if she's just come back to TV and she's back with Rusev now.
That's what it sounded like to me. I'll maybe link it in the description box below and see what you all think out there. But I thought she was potentially dropping it or dubbing it down a little bit. She didn't on Raw, but it's an awful storyline. We'll talk about that. That's a big downer on this week's We Talk. Big thumbs down. One person that did or obviously would go all the way is Sonny.
Oh, have you got your Sonny's tweet?
Well, I'll be honest with you, right? I'll be a little bit honest this week. I was looking through these tweets, and
I bet you were.
And everything is so controversial. I'm not sure I can read any of them out this week. They are like seriously past the watershed.
That hasn't stopped you sending them to me on Twitter.
Well, I know, but
was that Smack That?
Oh yeah, you saw that one, yeah. That probably should be the Sonny tweet of the week. To be honest, the Smack That. I thought I'd give you a shout out, considering it sounds like you're endorsing Sonny these days with your whole Smack Talk, Smack That.
Avoid that.
Oh really? Did you see the big red mark?
The big red mark.
It's not a new wrestling gimmick. It's not like a new version of Kane.
I was going to say it sounds like some kind of gimmick that does.
No, it requires a hand and an arse.
I missed that, unfortunately.
And I'm not talking about Waz and Purvis here, okay? Just to clarify.
I missed that. You'll have to let us know what that was all about.
So, yeah, I mean, I think Sonny's tweets this week may be pushing the boundary a little bit for me. If you go and have a look, you might find out why. But I think the smack...
Didn't I mention this last week about, how controversial these tweets were? And you're just like, you know what? Just Google it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but did you see the power positivity from the from the comment section? They loved it.
I did. The comment section absolutely loved it. And I can't fault it. It's a good section. It's just a little bit past the watershed, isn't it?
It is. I mean, but like I say, you're kind of endorsing her a little bit now with the whole smacking and the the little hanky panky.
Well, that's just her throwing me shout outs. The's nothing in return here.
She's desperate to get you on a Skype call. She wants an interview by the mighty Smack Talks, doesn't she?
So does Wazim, though.
Look, we only can name drop him once or twice because he ain't gonna fly. He'll never be on We Talk ever. Yeah, just get that straight right now. And he can listen for as long as he likes. He ain't getting on it. You can drop call me on Skype thousands of times. You ain't coming on it. So do one, mate.
Well, that's him told.
That is him told. So yeah. We don't need to bury him anymore. There's no point in wasting time with people that are pointless. So yeah, forget it.
Yeah,
anyway,
forget him. Forget Sonny. Is that the way we're going?
Who the hell is Scunny? That sounds really dirty.
It does, doesn't it? It's kind of a mixture. She's changing her gimmick up a little bit. Fits with what she's doing.
So yeah, I mean, Sonny's tweets. If you're really missing them, then let me know by the comment section below. I'm not sure you can miss this week's. This week's are explicit to say the least.
I think what they should do is point out someone else that we should maybe do a tweet of the week. Who else puts out some interesting tweets?
Buff Bagwell.
Is Buff Bagwell even on Twitter?
He is. It was very funny. Actually, I'll tell you a little story before we get going. Wrestle Talk had Buff Bagwell, I think, on their show. I think it was Wrestle Talk. And they're
really scraping the barrel now, aren't they, for guests?
Well, this was a while ago, and they were like, "Oh, it was great to have at Buff Bagwell on the show." I was like, "That is not his official Twitter." I had to actually pull them up on this.
Who was it then? Have you checked at Buff Bagwell?
Just some random. I mean, it was not Buff Bagwell's Twitter, and I should know these things, of course. If anybody's going to be able to tell you the official Buff Bagwell Twitter account,
are you quickly Googling for it now to find out what it is?
Yeah, do you hear me stalling there?
Just a little bit.
Can you sing the Frozen theme so I can just quickly go and find it?
Well, we can't do that just on any occasion. It's safe for special occasions, that is.
Thanks for filling that time period for me. It's actually the real Buff Bagwell.
The real Buff Bagwell.
# Team Buff.
That makes us think there must be a fake Bagwell out there. Have you got a fake Bagwell account?
I would never do such a thing. There's only one Buff. There's only one Buff Daddy. There's the good, there's the bad, and then there's the Buff.
No disputing that.
Gling! See, look at
One
that.
of a kind.
Look how we transitioned from goddamn awful in the W word that we won't say anymore. We're never saying that word on We Talk ever again. It's the W word, okay?
Wrestling? That could be kind of awkward.
Could be, but we're not saying that word. We're just not using the other word. The one that sleeps with a pillow on his head constantly. We transitioned from that to talking about Buff. It's great.
Wow. It's just gone from one low point to another.
Embrace the power of positivity. That's what I'm telling everybody these days.
I fully embrace it. I just haven't embraced the power of Bagwell-tivity, or whatever you want to call it.
Don't you dare be sour. Clap and feel the power.
No. I can't do it for Bagwell. It's just, it's Bagwell.
Yeah, but you like his theme music. You did a community showcase on it. Yeah, hold on a minute. You did a community showcase on him, and then then you start trying to diss him like he's some sort of.
Well, I did that for you because I knew you'd be looking out for an amazing Bagwell creation. So I thought, why not put one up on Xbox?
Yeah, it's like... I knew he was going to say that. It's on the Xbox. I ain't got a freaking Xbox.
We have to get an Xbox, won't you?
Jesus.
All your fans on Xbox sitting there wanting more Delzinski, wanting to play you, take on the man himself, and you shun them all.
It's not really shunning them all. It's just acknowledging that the PlayStation 4 is the by far superior console.
Ooh. You could be getting it in the comments today.
You say that every week, and then all I get is the power of positivity with, we love Sonny's tweets. We love Buff Bagwell. Nice one, We Talkers. Nice one.
Shocking.
Right, so should we? There was plenty more to talk about this week, but I think we've gone down the rundown. So we'll talk about a bit more of what else we've got to talk about on We Talk shortly. But let's just get straight into it. Let's talk some wrestling, yeah.
Let's go for it. Makes a change.
Yeah, it does actually. The League of Nations, right? So obviously we've seen this new faction or this new group assembled by Sheamus. I'm not entirely sure if the New Day are in or out at the moment. I'm gathering they're not in. They're not in. They're more out.
I would say the in.
Are they in? Really?
I'd say the in. I don't know about Kevin Owens. I think he's out, and he might be out injured or sick here at the moment as well.
Right.
So I don't think he's in. He's out.
But the kind of the concern for me is obviously the way they've been brought together. It's quite nice, like you say, to get Bad News Barrett elevated a little bit here. But Alberto Del Rio, I mean, this is the guy that a little while ago was like calling Adrian Neville like an illegal, so to speak, and that he shouldn't be in the country, and you know the Mex America gimmick. But now he's assigned himself and associated himself with someone like Sheamus, who's probably he should have the same feelings towards. Sheamus shouldn't be there, surely. Bit of a mistake, but you know.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? I guess Neville's like a new guy; he hasn't proven himself. Maybe that's the difference. But considering Barrett's from the UK as well, and Sheamus, bit strange.
Well, this is what I mean. The minute I saw it, and I was like, Del Rio's in there, but he's like Mex America. That's all he cares about. He doesn't want anyone else there. Everyone else is illegal to him, and now he's aligned himself with a bunch of illegals. And
but you can't have like the League of Nations without the nation of Mex America.
Is this a really cheap spin-off of like a mishmash of like I'm going to say a few things, and you're probably going to think, what the fuck? But I think that it is...
Nothing new there, then.
Well, obviously. But I'm going to say a few names, and I'm going to think it's a mishmash of everything, because it kind of is to me. So, like, it feels like to me it's a mishmash of the corporation. Like, so, you know, they could have had, like, the corporation.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the corporation.
So just so you're aware of that, because just to check in that you know your WWE history. I know you don't know your WCW history, so I have to clarify these things with you.
That is a little bit rusty, but yeah. I'm sure you can fill us in on that.
So we've got the corporation side, and then we've got the Nation of Domination, and they've just decided to lump them together. And I'm still kind of sitting there thinking to myself, just a little bit, that would it not have just been better to go with Roman Reigns and the corporation, which would have been like much easier, much better, and much more entertaining?
It would have, but like I said before, they're struggling for like people to really push in terms of like the big face. There's so many people like injured. There's not a lot many options you can really go with, so I think they've kind of held off Roman Reigns for that reason. It is kind of a mixture though, but I like the way they're going with it. Like I mentioned before, I think it's a good way to put people like Barrett into that sort of main event scene where otherwise he's been struggling. He's the king of the ring, and yet ever since winning, he's done absolutely nothing. He's gone backwards. So it's a good way to kind of elevate him a little bit more. As far as like the whole faction as a like whole, I think it's pretty good the way that they're going with it, because they've got all the champions in there with the exception of Owens. And I think he is someone that will be added to it. It was just, he'd had his son on the road with him this week, and they'd both come down ill to the point that the WWE actually sent him home from Raw. So I think if he hadn't been sent home ill, then I think he would have been part of this as well, because it then means like all the titles are contained in this group, and they're all under the power of the Authority.
But are they under the power of the Authority? Are we saying that these... Well, I know he thanked them, but wouldn't it be nice, potentially, if, you know, we've got King Barrett in there. Is he still king? Don't know. We've got Sheamus in there. If we got all the champions under one banner and the king as well, wouldn't it be kind of nice to maybe try and overthrow the Authority a little bit, saying that you don't have the power now, and now it's, you know, the League of Nations that does, using Zeb Coulter a little bit more as a good mouthpiece for that? I kind of think that could be a nice little route to go down.
Well, I think it'd be cool. We said this last week about the Authority like getting a bit bored of it, because it's been the same thing all the time. When we see Sheamus come out with this new attitude, it could be that, you know, the kind of sticking with the whole Seth and Randy Orton thing where, you know, they make him feel like he's the man. And I like the fact that even though Sheamus has now got this confidence and he feels like good because he's got the authority behind him, it doesn't look like they're going down the same route because we've actually got this League of Nations now, and they could do that. They could really take over on TV. Not so much overthrow the authority, but just be there as a group and it be focused on them, and authority can kind of take a back role. And with Christmas coming up, it's a good excuse to have like Triple H and Steph just go off and take some time off for a while. So I think it'd be cool just to have Raw with them instead of always relying on Triple H and Steph being there. It can just be, the League of Nations that are running the show.
I was a little bit concerned though, because you've touched on this Sheamus, being a bit more forward, a bit more outspoken, but I don't know whether it's in a good way or not. Because I know obviously he's celebrating that he's become champion, and Sheamus has had a tendency to be a bit not well. I look at Sheamus and I think to myself, the badass Sheamus was always the best one, the one that was just like bro kicking everybody and quite serious, and I tend to think that would be the perfect Sheamus for this title run. And potentially, if he was going to build to maybe saying, well, thanks for helping me with getting the the cash-in sorted, and taking down Roman Reigns, that they should go down that route with him, and you could use that version of Sheamus, the badass Sheamus, to sort of say to the authority, I don't need you anymore. I've got this League of Nations behind me, and we're going to, take things forward, and kind of pitch it off a bit with Triple H. I don't think this version of Sheamus is going to be like that. I think this version of Sheamus, it could change, but I didn't see any serious element of Sheamus throughout of that promo, really. It was all quite gimmicky. He was having a laugh with the New Day. Let's not forget that the New Day walked out on him earlier on in the Survivor Series match, which he seems to have absolutely forgotten. He must be so high off of winning the title that he's forgotten that bit, and he's willing to forgive and forget. But he's also giving New Day their props. So he was like saying, I love your guys' positivity. Well, you didn't love it when they walked out on you. I'm just a bit concerned of how wishy-washy this Sheamus champion is. I would have liked him to be a lot more straight, a lot more like, I capitalised on an opportunity, I'm an opportunist, I took down Roman Reigns, and now it's time to start running things my way as world champion, and bro-kicking the crap out of everybody, having a bit more legitimacy to it. The whole shaking of the hips and dancing with the New Day is very funny, I find it quite entertaining, but is that the Sheamus champion that we want? I know that people might think that's boring, but I always go back to that when I have a heel, and for so long we've had heels that have been cowards and running away, and Rollins, wasn't always given the credibility. Are you taking Sheamus seriously after this week's Raw? Because I'm not.
Not really. I don't know. Maybe it's just a case of, he's enjoying this at the minute. He's got that time to celebrate. But then from there, we don't want to see this carry on. We want to just see him sort of go back to being that dominant force that Sheamus is, the big physical wrestler. So I don't think it's something that should really go on for a while. I think it's just a case of, this is his time to celebrate and there'll be a time to fight.
Yeah, I want him to explain why he's surrounded himself with these people. I don't know if he's done that yet. I don't think he has. I haven't seen much of SmackDown, but I want him to come out and explain why he chose to align himself. Obviously, Barrett's his mate, but, you want to get that understanding of things. And at the moment, it's like I think you said before we came on We Talk, this is something that they could have built on over a few weeks. They just went straight in again. They just do not seem to have the ability to do a slow build on these things anymore. And it's almost a bit worrying that it's just all of a sudden now we've got this faction at the top and they're all champions. And like, I don't think it benefits Rusev too much, to be honest with you. I think it confuses his whole storyline with Lana, which we're going to talk about shortly. I'm a bit 50-50 with it. I like that they've elevated people, but I think, again, like, you could have Sheamus playing that really straight role and then trying to keep the New Day in check as such, rather than him just partying with the New Day, which I thought was quite awkward. It was like watching your dad at a party and looking and thinking, I really don't want to be here. What's going on with that? It was that sort of feeling.
It did give you that kind of feeling as well. I think what I mentioned about it was it felt a bit out of place because when I was watching Raw live, it got to the point where the Nation kind of appeared and made their debuts, like this faction, and I thought, hang on, is this the end of Raw? It's a bit early, and like I realized there was another hour to go, because like naturally it felt like that was the end of the show. It felt it should have been that the sort of all appeared together. They cost Roman the title, and it was a case of, that is the new faction. They're going to end the show on a high note, and then from there it'll go into the next week where Roman Reigns will want some retribution. That'll go into like the tag team match. But instead of doing that and spreading it over 2 weeks, it's been rushed straight into the main event on the same show. And I just feel like this is all done so fast. It kind of progresses it so much, and because we get so much of it, as the weeks go on, if it is still the same focus and it's like all these same people, it's going to be like the Divas situation where they've got so many people and throwing them in there, and it's just constantly going to be these tag team matches. So instead of spreading it out and keeping it so that we're kind of fresh with it, we're getting so much of it in the same episode. And for you, I guess the best way to kind of put this across is if you had put Saturday night's main event up and you had the main event, but you've then got, say, double the time to do, you've got to try and write 2 weeks episodes into one, and it kind of just all ends up rushed, and you don't get the same kind of feeling that you would if it was strung out where you can get invested in it. You just feel like this is all getting rushed and thrown straight at you. It's too much to take in. I would prefer them just to take the time with it. Go over it nice and slowly. Bring in some other guys to the roster where they can help pass the time. And it's not like you have to rely on just these guys to get ratings. Because I think at the minute the ratings are so low, they feel we've got to constantly have the top guys on TV so that people are continuously watching. I think, again, it's just the 3-hour Raw. It's a bad idea, and it's making everything a bit rushed. And because of that, the storylines are suffering, and they keep pushing out the same people over and over again. It's stopping other people get the chance.
Well, it's a bit of a concern because it could burn out the New Day as well, is something that I'm thinking as well. The amount, I know everyone's like, oh, well, I can't get enough of the New Day, but at some point you will have enough of the New Day because you see it week in, week out constantly.
Well, it's like the Zack Ryder situation where everyone was like, oh, I quite like Zack Ryder, the Z True Long Island story stuff. And like, hang on, ratings are suffering. We need someone that people are going to be invested in. What about Zack Ryder? We'll put him in the main event. We'll put him with John Cena. And it's like they do that and they kind of force it on you, so you're getting more and more of it. And it's like, well, hang on, you've took something that we've liked here and you've kind of changed it. And I've got a bad feeling that's kind of how the new day are going to progress. I think they're going to get pushed into this, and it's going to change the way they are because they're working with other people and they kind of be the same. And seeing things like Sheamus trying to get involved, it doesn't work as well because he's not part of that group. And I think for that reason, it could kind of burn out the New Day.
Well, that's the thing. Like you mentioned booking like main event and stuff. I always think as well, there's like less is more. And,
it is.
And there's a lot of things this week that I've found that's less, not just in the wrestling world. Like, I don't know if you saw it, but like the Superman trailer, the Superman versus Batman trailer.
Yeah, it was rubbish though. It had Superman in it.
Idiot. Nothing wrong with Superman. He's the man.
It looks awful though, that trailer. Like, it looks to be a good action movie, but it doesn't feel like a Batman film. Like
it's not a Batman film. It's League of Justice.
Well, that's the thing. It's got Superman in there. It's like, and then you've got Batman and Superman. Wonder Woman turns up, and it's like, oh, just give us Batman on his own. I don't want Superman ruining my movie.
You don't read the comic books, man.
I don't need to if the Superman.
Anyway, enough of your negativity once again. What I was saying was that, for example, in that trailer, right? Everybody's excited about, apart from you, everyone's excited about seeing Batman versus Superman. That's what everyone was looking forward to. Everyone wants to see Batman fight Superman to see who wins, right? Now, obviously, if you haven't seen the trailer, then spoiler alert now. So, skip this by like 30 seconds or whatever, or maybe a bit longer. But, that's what everyone's been looking forward to. So seeing a trailer, that's what you're looking for. Now, when I say less is more, right at the end of this trailer, they go and show Doomsday, which is a pretty big deal, yeah? I think that's a big deal. Why would you give that away in a trailer, from my point of view? Because everybody wants to see Batman versus Superman. So play it off that is what the film is all about, yeah? And then when you go and see the film, then you see Doomsday, and you're like, oh, okay, so they have to come together to fight Doomsday. But instead, they've dropped that now. So you know that they're not going to have a proper fight and no one's going to win or lose that fight because ultimately they've got to come together to fight Doomsday. You know that now. And for me, less is more. Don't give that away. That's like a big spoiler to give away.
Well, it happens too much now. It's like people feel they have to show so much of something to like get people to go and want to see it. It should be like, fair enough, you want to get people hyped for a movie, but at the same time, you don't want to give everything away. It's like so many trailers just tell you the whole plot of a story, and it kind of ruins it. I've really enjoyed the Star Wars trailers because they don't really give anything away whatsoever, and it's the complete opposite. It makes you more hyped when you don't know too much because you're going in wanting to see what happens. If someone tells you exactly what's going to happen, then it kind of takes away some of that hype.
But that's the thing. That's the concern of it, because it's like, you know, if I just saw the first trailer, which was quite. I think it was like maybe 2-minute trailer. That's enough time for me. And all it was played on was like, you know, Superman went through Gotham and, you know, destroyed the city. That's obviously given him the motive to want to take on Superman. And all it was based on was these two fighting each other. That's all I really needed. And like I enjoyed obviously seeing the extra bits. Don't get me wrong, you didn't, but I enjoyed seeing it all. But it just like, to me, it's like you shouldn't have really given me that in the trailer. You've kind of given me too much. I don't need that. And that's what I kind of think with wrestling. It's like, you know, they try and give you it all like constantly in like one episode, and it's like a big rush to do it. Like, you know, just leave the element of surprises in here and there. And I said with this, what I'm saying with Saturday Night Main Event, it's like, for example, someone said to me, "Oh, why didn't you go all the way with something like this?" I mean, I sort of thought, well, I'm not Lana and I'm not Rusev, so, but for me, it's like less is more. Like Sheamus bro kicking. If you haven't seen it, then again, spoiler alert, but Sheamus bro kicking Cesaro, like out of nowhere, does it need any more than that? Does he need to pick him up and beat him down even more? Does he, he needs to just do a little bit, like, you know, bro kick him and give him a little bit of a lesson, and that's it, and then leave the mystery to it. Is he going to continue that feud? And then how is Sheamus going to play things out? If I then had Sheamus then cut a promo and tell us exactly why he's done what he's done, and this is this and this and this in the same episode, you're not going to watch next week because you want to know why he bro kicked him. And that
exactly,
it's less is more.
It's just like, that's a perfect example of it. You don't want to give everything away straight away. You want to like keep that hook there so that people are then watching the next episode to see what happens.
And that's what I find with Raw. Is they'll either give you nothing, like, because sometimes they just don't give you anything, or they just give you too much, like assembling a faction so quickly or a group so quickly like that. You might be asking yourself, why are they together? But this could have been a slow burn of how he brought them together. You know, approach people, not like the Survivor Series build. You know, how do you get your teams of 5? You know, you go and recruit them, you take your time, you go and see them, you pick the right people. Whereas that was like, stick them together. Boom, there you go. You know, just tease it a little bit. Tease that he's worked on someone for months on end to get them in his team, and you know, just think about these things more. Too much, just wanting to just get it out there and then have people go, ooh, you know. And that's a lot like the Superman versus Batman trailer. They've revealed like Doomsday, so people are either going to be high on that and say, oh, that's great, or people are going to be like saying, you know, I didn't need to see that in the trailer. I just think that sometimes, you know, you just got to take a step back and think, you know, what's the impact going to be when we do get to the big payoff? And like for me, if I went to the cinema and I watched Batman versus Superman and then I saw the fight and then ultimately then another villain comes in, a big villain, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know this was going to happen. Whereas now I know. So, you know, like I know that Sheamus is going to be a bit of a doofus over the next few weeks because he's dancing around and prancing around. This isn't the hard-ass Sheamus that I wanted.
Yeah, it's just give them like the time to sort of progress this and work on the story, because I think the longer you take to work on it, the more you can kind of put in and get across like the way that you want it to go. instead of rushing everything and maybe doing something that you then think, oh, well, we shouldn't have done that. Let's just ignore it. Like a lot of the storylines that we have had, like when you mentioned the New Day walking out on Sheamus, it's like if they took time to plan this and they'd done it in advance instead of rushing everything, they would kind of realize, if we go down this route, that won't make sense. So we'll have to like change something up. By rushing everything and trying to put out the 3-hour show where they're putting in so much of the same people, it just rushes everything and it becomes a bit of a mess.
Well, exactly. With the New Day, surely it would have been like, if he started assembling this League of Nations, he maybe approaches the New Day backstage, says, I didn't like what you did, like at the Survivor Series, walking out on me, but I am the champion. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And then next week they play a part. It's, again, just dropping the little hint there that potentially there could be some sort of, alliance between the two. But they don't do it. They're just like, sod it. Throw the New Day in there as well. They're popular. They'll do.
Well, they could do it so that you'll have like it. We know that Barrett and Sheamus are like a tag team anyway, so we could have Barrett come into the main event with Sheamus to go up against, say, Reigns and Ambrose, and then we could have someone else come in, and it's like we don't know why they're there. Then all of a sudden they team up with Sheamus and Barrett. And then the next week, someone else comes down. We're wondering who they're going with. And it kind of keeps that element of surprise there because you don't know if they're going to side with them or not. Whereas when they just throw together this whole team, it's like, well, that's the entire team now. You're not really going to add anyone else to this. Maybe Owens, but aside from that, it takes away that element of how far this is going to go, who else is going to join it. It's all been done in one show. And not only that, we've also got the follow-up match where it's like the tag team match and they're all going up against each other.
Well, Makes America as well, from a Del Rio point of view, that would have been a nice way to have to introduce him. Would have been about, talking about him not wanting, guys like Sheamus around because of their background, where they've come from, and then ultimately doing the ultimate double cross, which is to side with them. There was none of that. There's none of that thought process. You could have really strung that out with Del Rio again, and you could have elevated him even more as a heel when he does turn his back on someone like Roman Reigns. They just don't think far enough ahead. They don't seem to want to do things in a proper fashion anymore. And it's funny, isn't it? Like Survivor Series has just passed, and now we've got this group which could have been used in a Survivor Series match. With some good storyline behind it. We could have maybe gone down that route. Whereas, what did we get? We got these people complain about Survivor Series match and not having credible teams. Well, you could have really got it here with the whole League of Nations.
Yeah, it's strange the way it's played out, and it goes back to what I said last week about having these gimmick pay-per-views is one thing, but it works so much better when you put together these gimmick matches when you need them, as opposed to like hoping that by the time you get round to this pay-per-view, you've got something that fits. So again, it's just another situation where Survivor Series is a bit past it. I would prefer just to bring it in as a Survivor Series match type when that sort of match is called for.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think about the scenarios before you just stick them all together, because lumping them all together doesn't no one any favours. It gives people a payday, I guess, and that's about it. Sheamus's personality is something I'm interested to see how it goes, because it can either go two ways for me. He either gets back on track and he becomes quite an aggressive character like he's been and no nonsense, or he can go down this sort of... The more he goes down the route of trying to be fun with the New Day, the more it leads me to believe he's going to be another coward champion, hiding behind the League of Nations, which I don't necessarily think is a great idea. I think, he should be more, in your face, not afraid of people, but he's got them as his backup just in case something does go wrong. That's the way I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it just... I'm hoping they don't go down that same route again, because we've seen it for the past two and a half years now. So I think we need something fresh, and I think Sheamus is the person to give that, because he does have that big presence about him where he can hold his own. He doesn't need everyone else behind him, even though we've got all these people now behind him.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But, I guess we're going to have to see how things play out. And We Talkers, get involved at the comment section below of what you'd like to see happen with Sheamus moving forward and his new League of Nations. Are you fond of it? Are you happy with it? Do you think that they should have done a bit more of a slow build to build this group up and make us a bit more invested in it? Like I say, having Del Rio potentially do a double cross, the New Day, not just throw them in there. I think there's a few things they could have done, and obviously Rusev's in there, and that kind of brings us to our next talking point, which is they didn't go all the way.
They didn't go all the way. They've been saving themselves for the honeymoon.
And I'm going to have to really say that this is the most goddamn awful storyline that has dragged on with Ziggler, with Summer Rae. And what have we come to? We've come to this. We've come to them being put back together when they should never have been split up. But the dynamics have completely changed. If you think about them in NXT and when they first came up and they took on the feuds with Cena, she was really strong. She wanted to, crush people. And she is just a shadow of her former self. And I tweeted out on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, I said, now, Lana went through a little beef with Paige about being a bully. And she's complaining, in NXT she was bullied by Paige, right? But in storyline, and I know no kayfabe and all that stuff, but in storyline, she's been bullied by Rusev for like the last few months. And yet she's just gone back to him. And so what? Bullying people works, does it? If you bully them enough, they'll come back to you. And she's got no issues with Rusev bullying her around and then getting back with her. But she's had an issue with Paige. And I just think it makes a mockery of absolutely everything. The whole storyline is one big, ginormous mess. And no matter how much WWE have tried to, paper over the cracks with this whole, where the TMZ thing was leaked and we've got to kind of bring them back together for that basis. I really wish they hadn't. I just think it's goddamn awful. There's nothing they can do to erase my memory of the shit shambles that we've seen over the last few months, where Lana has become this sort of, I don't know what she's become. She's become weak and it's become rather annoying. And I think she's still rather annoying. Seeing her back on TV, I was like, I don't know if I can stomach this. And then when they started, when Rusev added a new meaning to Rusev face when he rammed his tongue down Lana's throat. In the words of Joey Styles, oh my God, get a room.
It was a bit over the top, wasn't it? Maybe Ryback purposely delayed it, like his entrance, just to let them go on a little bit longer.
Maybe Ryback. When he came out and he said, he's hungry, maybe he wanted to get involved in that. Maybe he wanted a three-way. Maybe he wanted to test his big chunky tongue out. Ugh.
Ew.
That is
Feed me less.
Feed me less. Feed me nothing. Oh, dear. It was... what was your thoughts of everything that's happened? So, going back to, them originally coming in, then getting sidelined with this whole crazy Ziggler rubbish, and yet they could have just forgot about all of that, but they're still playing on it because they're doing this thing. They are loving the fact that they keep saying she didn't go all the way. That someone there, Vince McMahon, is in the backstage going, you didn't go all the way, so it's fine, and if you don't like it, you're fired. That's what he's saying.
It's crazy though. It's an awful storyline that we've had to put up with, and I don't know if I've even put up with it. I've kind of just lost all interest in it because it's been so bad. It's probably the worst storyline I can think of in recent times. Can you think of anything else that kind of rivals this for the worst that we've had?
Beaver cleavage.
Possibly, yeah.
No, I mean, in fairness, when you think of something that's been invested in a lot, when they've wanted to really focus on it, this has been bad. This has been quite in the open, and I think in terms of it being bad, it's the whole diminishing of the character of Rusev, which has been downright outrageous. You brought him up, and he had this really credible feud with John Cena, albeit that John Cena always got the one up in the end. And I was listening to another podcast the other day, Inside the Ropes. If you haven't checked them out, then please do so. They're great. And they were mentioning that the only it just in these scenarios with the WWE, they always seem to get people to go over in the wrong way, the wrong fashion. With Rusev, I mean, he had his bit with Cena where he did really well, and then they just took it all away from him. So that's really doesn't matter any longer. Like everything, all you ever remember now is his horrendous rivalry with Dolph Ziggler. I really have forgotten how credible he really was.
It is, because like 6 months in wrestling is such a long time, especially when we've been saying like how much was he progressing in like an episode of Raw with it being 3 hours. But it seems like that was an eternity ago when he was like the dominant Rusev and he was taking on John Cena and actually beating him. This, it's like a world away from that. It's completely different. And I like the fact that they've kind of hit the reset button and they're maybe going to start over with this, and it's good for Rusev, especially being in like a part of this League of Nations. It kind of puts him back up to the sort of upper section of the card instead of being stuck in the mid card. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like they're not even moving past this. They're still bringing up what happened. So if they continue to do that, it's just going to further ruin it. I think they just need to forget it all happened and just start this off as a reboot, start again fresh. Don't mention Ziggler. We know what happened. There's no need to keep bringing it up. The more that you do, it just further ruins what's going on.
What do you think of Lana throughout all of this? Like, because I think she's the one. Like, Rusev's kind of stuck with his gimmick. He's never really strayed from it. He's always been, the Bulgarian brute, albeit a little bit ridiculous that he went into a love triangle. Can you really see the Bulgarian kebab man, like, being some sort of, that's caught women's eyes out there? I mean, really? He must make a really good kebab. Must have to ask him for one time.
He must do.
Or unless he just enjoys eating kebabs, if you get what I'm saying. Cheeky one there. Cheeky one.
Cheeky
one there.
I can't get that. I don't know what you mean.
Cheeky one.
Maybe I'll have to like just
Google it.
Explain. Should Google it. Google kebabs. I don't know what the question was.
The question was, right, so for Rusev hasn't really changed very much. They've just kind of around him dropped in things like the love relationship thing. Lana, they have actively changed. They've changed her as a character. She was a strong, powerful, character. Now she's like all in love and loves everything. And that's a completely different version of Lana. And Lana is still that version, I feel. She hasn't turned into the strong character at all.
She hasn't. She's kind of a hybrid. She's like a mix of the two.
I hate her character at the moment.
Well, it's nothing like it used to be. Like, there's no way to get behind her at the minute. There's no reason for it. It's like that ruined her character more than it did Rusev's, because Rusev is still the same gimmick. Lana's completely changed when she was becoming all Americanized with Dolph Ziggler. Now to suddenly go back and no explanation for it, it's like, well, she's not the same. She has obviously changed. If she has gone back to being the Russian gimmick that she was before, what's the reason behind that? What's made her see the light, I guess? Why has she gone back to that? We haven't got any explanation for it. Just that, Rusev's her man and that true love is shone through.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why it like leads you to the thought process. It's like the bullying bit has prevailed because he was so rude and horrible to her. That made her come back.
Maybe she likes that though.
Well, like the whole treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe that's what she wants. She doesn't want someone like Dolph Ziggler who's all like lovey with her.
Just shagging everyone.
Yeah, well, that'd be enough to put you off Dolph Ziggler, wouldn't it? So maybe she just goes back to Rusev because she knows he's loyal.
I just can't believe it. I can't believe that this is the sort of conversation that we have to have. Is that is their...
We're like forced into these conversations.
I know.
Annoying.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious that is where they've got to with this. And I mean,
welcome to this like wrestling podcast where instead of talking wrestling and how awesome these matches are, we're talking about this awful love triangle.
Yeah, this relationship between Rusev and
quadrangle. I don't even know what it is anymore.
And the trouble is with it is with Lana. I'm like, everyone liked her because of that whole thing that she was like crush him, and she would play up a bit to the crowd and stuff. I don't think anybody's enjoying her being all happy in love and all that sort of stuff. And I know it might sound a bit kind of like harsh, but that's not what made people interested in the gimmick. It was like because she ignored the fans before. That's why you like someone like that. I just think I don't get what she is. I don't understand what her character is anymore, and I don't know how it gets better. Like, they're still obviously got to try and drop the accent at some point. What? So hit the reset button. She's not gonna be Russian forever.
Just don't drop the accent. We've seen them try to do it once, and it didn't work out well whatsoever. So just forget it. Just change her details. Make it say that she's actually Russian. No one needs to change that. Just keep her the way that she was before. Just go back to that. Don't explain it. Just have her come out, be that Russian, act like nothing happened.
Do you well, yeah, you say that, but like if you watch that promo, that interview with Michael Cole, there's like, I've not noticed her drop the sort of, I've not ever noticed the American lingo, but you could clearly hear it. Like every time she said a sentence, there was a bit of American, then he went back into Russian, bit of American. It was really lazy. Like, and I don't know whether that was a decision, like to try and maybe ease her off the accent a bit more. It didn't feel like it on Raw, so I may be wrong, but I thought it was lazy. And I'm thinking, I don't know how much longer. I genuinely don't care for her anymore, and I don't really fussed about Rusev, to be honest. I think Rusev could have just gone on his own or something now. But I find her, in all elements, rather irritating. And I know it's quite harsh to say, but I find her social media annoying. I find her Instagram annoying. And I find her cat on character screen annoying. It's just because it's all just a mishmash of wishy-washiness. And this is what we keep saying on like things. Her social media is all Americanized, but then like she's gone back to being the Russian gimmick. I know there's no kayfabe anymore, but there has to be an element of consistency here. Please.
There has to be, but we're just not getting it. Like, hopefully this reboot kind of changes that, though, and they just stick in this certain direction. Because if they continue to change the characters and try to evolve it, I think it's just going to go one way, and that's not a good way. I think it's just going to get worse and worse, and they're further going to ruin what's going on. It's like when we mentioned Adam Rose, and we're going to talk about him, but constantly tweaking gimmicks and changing it, it just further devalues it, and it makes it worse. You're not guaranteed that it's going to make it better. I think keep changing that and showing the indecisiveness. That's what kind of ruins someone.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up Adam Rose because, people's perception of Adam Rose, this kind of thing that kind of actually gets a little bit on my nerves a bit, really. Like, everyone always hits Adam Rose because they're like, oh, you're shit. Oh, you're not very good. Oh, you're rubbish. Oh, you pants. Your new gimmick sucks. Adam Rose is not rubbish. Adam Rose is not a bad wrestler. Adam Rose is all right. Leo Kruger was all right, yeah? But the issue is the crappy booking from WWE and the constant, indecisions to follow through with a gimmick. Like, they had that Leo Kruger gimmick down in NXT. Why don't they just bring him up with that and keep persistent with that? That's the sort of gimmick that could possibly go into the Wyatt family if you'd stuck with that, but you didn't want that. Then we look at, him having the party animal gimmick. Now, the party animal gimmick was just missing one thing. It was missing that side to him, that credible side. He can come out and party and suck on his lollipops and all that sort of stuff. but the main thing here, and the bunny could be there, but the main thing here was that he had to have something, a little spark about him that would just make you think, oh, not sure about that, don't like that. And that would make him a genuine heel. And to make him a genuine heel, you had to have a mean streak. So regardless or not of how much he used to come out and prance around, the end product could be something like, 1 week he low blows somebody, gets a chair, beats the crap out of him with the chair. Even the party people around him could jump on him and start, beating them down as well. But that's the thing with Adam Rose. You needed that sort of element to him that makes that when you flip the switch, Adam Rose can do something. He's never had that. He's never had that through any of his gimmicks. They've changed him now, Leo Kruger, party Adam Rose's face, heel Adam Rose didn't work, and now they've got this the what is he, a head teacher sort of gimmick, or the party pooper gimmick, which seems to have changed even more.
It's changed again. We had the party pooper where he was coming out and raining on everyone's parade, and now it's kind of like this awkward celebrity news thing, but where the celebrity's actual wrestlers. So we've got the Rose Bush, which is like him running down what's happened in WWE, and we know how bad the like Rusev and Lana situation is. We don't need like WWE to actually acknowledge how bad it is and have Adam Rose come out and further make fun of it when you're trying to rewrite it. It's like, why do that? And the gimmick itself, it's awful. It was hard to sit and watch it, and those people laughing at like the photos with like Rusev with a bra, and it was like, were people really laughing at that? It wasn't funny. Did they just pipe that in? Like, I don't get it. I didn't like it whatsoever.
What's the segment called again?
The rose bush.
Would you like to have a ruffle through Sonny's rose bush?
You know what? I knew you were going to make that joke the moment I mentioned rose bush.
Cheap things, little things, eh? Anyway, right, as you were saying, getting back to seriousness, right, I completely agree. It's cringeworthy to watch, but it's so annoying as well, because I don't think it takes much and to make these guys kind of legitimate. And I think the biggest problem here is that you can never see any of these gimmicks raising the world title, or you can never even see them maybe raising the Intercontinental title. And all it takes is to have that little spark. I could see Adam Rose as an Intercontinental Champion if they'd stuck with the party gimmick and he had a mean streak to him. I could, because he could use the rosebuds to attack people.
Well, I could see that. Like, we see so many things, like especially with the Divas and like Team Bad at the minute. Like, we had a great example on Raw where Sasha was taking on Brie, and we had Naomi and Tamina at ringside distracting them, which ultimately led to the victory for Sasha. If the Rosebuds were doing something like that and they were heel, then they could be, having the time of their lives partying, but at the same time they're at ringside, they're helping Rose win the match by distracting people and getting involved. So it's a great way for it to work. That in itself would have been an ideal way to go with the heel Adam Rose. And yet, for some reason, they seem to change it so drastically.
Go! Cast your minds back to the WWF days. Like, you had gimmicks like the Honky Tonk Man, Rick the Model Martel. These guys. The Rick the Model Martel is almost like a trade-off of Tyler Breeze these days, right? But Rick the Model Martel had that mean streak, that aggressive side, and he could wrestle. Yeah, and I'm saying with Tyler Breeze, he's got that, right? And again, we're trying maybe jumping onto the Tyler Breeze side here, but it's having that extra little spark that will make you potentially open to being a champion. Adam Rose would never got that opportunity. I'm feeling that could be a Tyler Breeze thing as well now. Tyler Breeze, what is he lost? He's lost both his matches now. He's being promoted quite a lot, but
He didn't even get an entrance on Raw. But come out during the commercial.
But you're talking about trying to develop guys for the future, and all you're doing is you're creating people to hate on these people. Now, the NXT faithful will respect Tyler Breeze, but other people will just think he's another Adam Rose. He's another trade-off gimmick that is never going to get anywhere. You got to bring these guys in and stick with them and stick with the gimmick and make sure that you ram that gimmick down people's throat until you think, right, I know Adam Rose is coming. He's going to really fuck me off this week, because this week he's going to come out. He's going to use his fucking rosebuds once again to cause a problem. And, by hook or crook, Adam Rose will get one over on you. And it's the same with Tyler Breeze. Use the selfie stick, it's not hard to book, but you're really never going to create anyone credible. And I think these gimmicks are good, some of these. Like, I'm not sure about the party side of things with Adam Rose originally, but you could do something with it. But Tyler Breeze with the model and stuff, it's a great gimmick. He lives and breathes the gimmick. But what's the point of living and breathing the gimmick if ultimately you're never going to become an Intercontinental Champion, a World Champion? You just go up to the main roster and you just job. No point. Why did the WWE do this with guys? It's a waste of time.
Well, it's just so much wasted opportunity. Like, the selfie stick should be a big thing. Like, because
Rick Martel had the what did he have? He had the spray, didn't he? I think he had the hairspray. Did he have something? He used to spray it in their face. It's a prime gimmick to use.
Well, it is like anything like that, like Tajiri with the green red mist and things. It's all something different. And I think with Breeze, with the selfie stick, not only is it a good way to have him, someone can distract the referee, he can use the stick, but then you can even do it so the selfie stick is shown on the Tron itself. So you're getting that kind of perspective of the stick hitting the person. Or you can have Breeze after the match celebrating where he's using that selfie stick to kind of lean over them or whatever, taunt them. And the showing on the Tron from that angle, it's something a bit different, where just going sort of the regular route and just ignoring that except for his entrance, it just feels like a bit of a waste.
Do you know what I would do? So, you've just said there, this is so easy. I think I've maybe just come up with the best gimmick for him. And you have as well. I'll give you credit as well.
What's the gimmick?
Every single time he beats somebody, he leans over, he takes a selfie with them, yeah? Hashtags it on WWE, selfie shamer or something like that, or shameless selfie or something like that, yeah? Every single person he beats, he adds to his collection of selfie shamers, yeah? He could then come out week on, week out, using that phone and show the list of, you know, all the pictures he's had with people that he's beaten. Is that not just already booking him in a way that, you know, can really wind up superstars and make him even more hated to people? Because every time he beats somebody, he's got to take that selfie shamer with people.
It is like it's ideal to do that. You can put it up on Instagram. It gets them more followers and stuff on there. They can do like WWE.com galleries, where it's like a gallery of all the opponents he's shamed. Like you can go one step further and have like, because Summers there's his manager, so you can bring out like lipstick and like write on the head or something, hashtag Ugo, seeing as he keeps calling them that.
Yeah.
So it's like a cool way to do it, and it kind of shames them. It's a great way to put Breeze over. Obviously, don't think the way we do,
but obviously don't want to push him. I mean, if you're never going to make anything of Tyler Breeze if you're coming out and losing week in, week out, and you're not doing anything with that freaking selfie stick. I mean, that's his prime gimmick. So just us talking there and brainstorming for like, you know, a couple of minutes here, and I'm pretty sure the We Talkers would do this all the time. They'll sit around and they'll talk about, you know, if you're in the pub, if you're in school, whatever, you talk about, you know, the way to book people. I find it impossible to believe that WWE, when they've got all these brains around the table, that none of them can come up with a way to give any of these gimmick characters a legitimate way of progress. And what you need to do is you need to build with Tyler Breeze to the point where he meets somebody and they, you know, knock him out and give him the selfie treatment. Then you get your big feud your big payoff is that. And you can go into like a 3-month feud with somebody. Just like Adam Rose. Someone at some point unmasked the bunny. You know, not hard to do. Come on.
It sounds so simple when we're talking about it, but like, to give them credit, they probably do come up with these ideas and then they get pushed over to Vince to approve them. And it's like, no, not happening. Don't know what that was, but it's just like, you know, whatever comes across, it's like Vince is always going to be the guy that puts them down, and I'm sure that's the case. Yeah, they're bound to come up with like plenty of ideas. It's just, I always feel like Vince is the guy that stands in the way of them, and it's up to him whether or not someone gets pushed. And if he's not happy with it, it's going to be a case of, you know, I'm just declining that. We're not going to go with that. We'll just go the normal route, and when we need to push someone, then we'll push someone, but there's no point doing it just now.
It's like you've got the Miz TV, and you have that still going on now. But you could have Tyler Breeze coming out and doing something like the beauty parlor or something like that, and you can just elevate him even more. Why do you keep going back to like Miz TV? Like no one really gives a shit about Miz TV.
Wait, he's got his VIP section. He can even move that to the ring, just upgrade the place.
It's just, you know, it's just things like that. It's like you've got to develop the new guys. Stop going back to the old. I don't know. I think just in this conversation, we've already booked Tyler Breeze in a great way to push him forward, and it's very, very sad, to be honest, that they can't see this. I mean, it will alienate people, because if you're not building big stars soon, you John Cena's of this world, you know, you were already begging on people to come back for WrestleMania. I mean, we shouldn't have to do that. We've got a roster of NXT guys that could easily showcase and headline a WrestleMania.
Well, it's just, for some reason, the powers that be don't seem to want to invest in them. They feel as though they're stuck in that old route. And when I say this, I'm obviously talking about Vince. That you need like a big star on there to attract people, where really it should be the wrestling. If people get involved in it, you're going to be more involved to see how something plays out than you are to see someone return.
Ratings are down, yeah? I mean,
it's the worst ratings, something like 1993.
Why are ratings down? Because nobody's invested in any characters, because there's no one coming through that people want to take their time in. I mean, it worries you because you see guys like Finn Balor, who, you know, Finn Balor could be a top guy, easy. But it worries me that he won't get that. He won't get that treatment because he's not the right size and shape for a Vince McMahon. And Samoa Joe, I mean, if you needed someone legitimate to come up to that roster, get him up there, but he's not the same shape and size of a Vince McMahon style wrestler. So all this whole talk of you've got to have the look and shit like that is just beyond me these days. Dusty Rhodes never had the look. He got over. You can go back to so many wrestlers and think about, you know, the way they were, and you don't have to be a jacked up, you know, superstar. It's just It's old-fashioned, man. Everybody loves your Daniel Bryans for the reason that they fly around the ring. And I'll say one other thing, just to add on this. As well, like we're saying to people chopping up gimmicks all the time and it doesn't work, but it doesn't work as well when you persist with a gimmick that simply doesn't work. And I'll use the Usos for the example of that. The Usos, I mean, you had a good opportunity to give them a bit of a new look. Stop wrestling in freaking t-shirts for starters. Yeah, you had a chance to really sort them out.
Is that really a bad thing?
Everything about the Usos is boring.
It is, like the t-shirt thing I don't mind, but
why do you wrestle in a t-shirt?
It gives you a different look. It sells t-shirts, it makes you money, it's merchandise.
It is merchandise, but it works with a Kevin Owens. It doesn't work with an Uso. I think the Usos, oh my God, the Usos dress in fucking PVC or whatever it is. I mean, goodness God, they've got the worst ring attires ever.
What if they put like #J and #Jimmy on one so you know which is which?
I mean, all right. So Usos came back. Would you have not given them a little bit of a better look? Would you have kept that PVC tights and whatever? Then I don't know what their boots are wearing.
I don't know what they're changed to though.
That's for sure. Those boots are awful. It looks like he's got a pair of eggs on his feet.
I don't mind the way they look. I think it's just like the way they wrestle, like the style of it. They're so restricted in doing like the same moves. But they've come back and they've done exactly the same thing. And the suicide dives that they do, like, everyone does them, and they still act as though it's a big thing. Yet we see Ambrose do one, like Daniel Bryan. There's so many people that do it. Even Roman Reigns jumps over the top rope. It's like, it's not a big thing anymore. Change your moveset up, do something different. But at the minute, it's just the same thing over and over again, which is that WWE style. Everyone always seems to get restricted to a certain set of moves. Except from maybe Kevin Owens, who has had a lot more. But even his now, we don't see him really bringing anything else new into it. It's like, we need to see something different. Because if you're just going to wrestle matches exactly the same every single week, then it just gets boring to watch.
Yeah, but there's nothing exciting with the Usos at all, because you cast your mind back again, going back old school with like tag teams and stuff. There used to be like finishes and things and certain moves that you'd like, and you'd think to yourself, I'm waiting all match to see that. I remember I always used to like with the Heart Foundation, you used to get the Heart Attack, which was the anvil, I think, picking up someone, and then Brett doing the big clothesline off the ropes, and it was like a good big setup. And it's like the 3D. When you see the 3D, you appreciate it. Well, the Usos got that sort of splash in it. Is it the splash?
It's just a splash, though, isn't it? It's like the most boring top rope move that you could possibly do.
It doesn't require a lot of teamwork to do that. You're a tag team.
And it's like when you watch the Dudleys, you're waiting for the 3D.
Yeah, and it's that moment that happens. I mean, there's only a certain amount, and I love the Young Bucks, and they, the whole super kick party is their shtick, but there's only a certain amount of times I can watch the Usos now super kicks until I'm bored. Super kicks from Ziggler, super kicks from Breeze, super kicks, super kicks, super kicks, super kicks, super kicks, super kicks, super kick, super kick. What happened to the super kick? It used to be a finisher from Shawn Michaels. Everybody freaking uses it these days. I love that the Young Bucks do their thing, but they do it in a different way. I mean, this super kick now in WWE is totally devalued.
It is.
And Ziggler's using it as a finisher, kind of.
Wait, even Del Rio kind of used it. With they used.
His is baby super kick.
Well, it is, yeah. But it won him the title against John Cena, so maybe it works.
Baby super kick.
I think, when the Usos returned, I thought maybe they're going to go down the kind of Young Bucks route, and that they're going to make them kind of into a super kick party. Because it seemed to be so many super kicks. But even that, it's not like a gimmicky thing. They haven't really done it. It's just another move in the arsenal.
Yeah. It's not like made into a big thing. It's just they just like doing super kicks. So I'm expecting in a few weeks like JBL to go, I'm having a super kick, I love it.
As long as he takes out Michael Cole, I don't mind.
And then he'll be like,
no, actually, you know what? Take out Byron Saxton because he's even worse.
They just took out Byron. It was a sad day. Can't believe they did it. Byron Saxton's a shit commentator.
Can I just say, I quite like Michael Cole on commentary now. It's just the two people around him I can't stand. Maybe that's a case of, I still think Michael Cole's bad, but he's just not as bad as the other two.
I'd plonk Corey Graves on that team. I think Corey Graves is a good commentator. I like him. He's like a genuine heel. Like he points out things that he doesn't like a lot, and I like that. I would think Corey's a good person to have up there.
He is, but I don't think you'd be the same with Vince in his ear. You'd be so restricted. That's the other problem. It's Vince again. Damn Vince.
I know. I mean, I like when I listen to NXT. When you listen to Graves, he's got his favourites, which is nice as well. It reminds me of Jerry Lawler. I used to love. Like, I think he always points out that he who is it that he likes. He's always been a fan of Sasha Banks, so he always champions Sasha regardless of what scenario she's in, and that's what you should be as a sort of real proper heel. You can't wishy-washy or be in between about that. You've got to like always stick by your guns that you like Sasha Banks regardless, even if she does something despicable. JBL doesn't do that. If JBL sees something despicable, he'll kind of jump away from it, but then he'll go and bury him the next week like he did with Jack Swagger. So,
well, JBL's commentary's awful. Like, there was the match with Breeze and Ziggler, and like Breeze had been blocking the super kick attempts like throughout the match, and then for the finish, Ziggler hit it, connected. It was obviously connected. He was like, "Oh, he blocked it. He blocked. No, he got it. He got it. He got it." He changed his mind within like 2 seconds, and it was just like, watch the damn match and like see what's going on. It was like someone had obviously says to him, no, he's actually hit it. That's the finish of the match. He's just changed his opinion. It's like, it just makes him sound so shit because he doesn't know what he's calling half the time.
Maybe his sweepy hair was hanging in his face too much. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was the sweepy hair. Or his smile was just beaming so badly he couldn't see anything.
It's got to be something like that, isn't it? Just something to distract him.
Yeah, I mean, commentary teams are probably for another We Talk, because you could definitely talk about it for like an hour and dissect how bad it really is. It's not as bad as TNA. The Pope's pretty bad. The Pope with his souffles. Yeah, you heard about his souffles.
I haven't even watched TNA for a while. Like, no one's taped so far in advance. I'm kind of just waiting for the Pop TV debut.
Well, the Pope, right? Anytime someone hits a suplex, he calls it a souffle.
A souffle?
A souffle. So you know, he's gone for a standing souffle. He's gone for a backward souffle, a T-bone souffle.
Is this like Taz with Champagne?
Yeah, but the Taz thing wasn't as bad. This is bad. It's not the name of the move.
So how many souffles do you get in a match?
Quite a lot, especially if Kurt Angle's going with those German souffles. I mean, imagine if he was involved with
Souffle City.
Yeah, Souffle City. What the fuck? You know? That's, yeah. So, I mean, that's bad. But never mind. Let's get back on track. Let's kind of walk away from Rusev, Lana, and the souffle that they might be having. Let's quickly talk about the Wyatts, because we're going quite a while, and we kind of went, you know, full. We went all the way with Rusev and Lana. Which
did we?
Yeah, we did.
Did we not avoid that?
No, we went all the way. We went in there. Went in hard and fast.
Well, at least we didn't with Sonny.
We hit it strong. I'm trying to think of any other sort of rock lines that I could possibly use at the moment.
I'm sure there's one about pie, if you're talking rock.
Yeah, probably. Pie. I'm done. Okay, so I kind of wanted to touch on this before we finish. Wyatts and Dudleys. Now, we did talk about that quite a lot last week, so we don't have to go overboard with it. But I watched the segment with the Wyatts and the Dudleys, and obviously you had the names on the tables. And I was really, when I was watching it, before the almighty arrival of somebody who I thought could have been better if it was Spike, but never mind that.
I thought that's where they were going. I was totally like taken off guard when it was like the other guy.
His family, is he from Dudleyville? Tommy Dreamer? No. And Tommy Dreamer,
maybe he's relocated there.
Tommy Dreamer, just to point this out, Tommy Dreamer always looks like he's an emotional wreck and like he's going to cry anytime he cuts a promo. Like, Tommy Dreamer, for me, if you ever ask him to cut a promo, it's always emotional from Tommy Dreamer. I mean, he's done it from ECW, WWE to TNA. Every time he cuts something, it looks like he's going to break down and cry. It's like the end of the world when Tommy Dreamer gets on the mic. And you watch, it will be like that at some point during this time with the Wyatts. But I thought, like, the whole little interaction between the Dudleys and Bray was pretty good. I would like to see the Dudleys join the Wyatt family. That's what I would think would be pretty awesome, to expand the family even more. A bit like what we saw in the Ministry when you had, like, you know, Midian be created and Viscera. Why can't we do that with the Dudley boys? It'd give them a new lease of life. It'd be something, you know, again, for Wyatt to sort of say he's championed. And if you wanted Wyatt to win this feud, what better way than converting the Dudleys?
No, I kind of see that happening.
Come
There's
on!
no way I'm just shooting that down straight away.
Why?
Why?
Why couldn't you make
can't
it
have the
work?
Dudleys and the Wyatt family.
What, when he built the corporate ministry, did you see that coming? You didn't mind that, did you?
Yeah, but that was kind of different. It's not like the Dudleys like they're such a big thing. If they weren't legends, then fair enough. Maybe you could put them in then. But these are the Dudley boys we're talking about. We're going into TLC. Like it's their pay-per-view. Surely we're gonna get like a tables match or something between these two. We kind of got a hint towards it with all these tables in the ring. So it's got to be a tables match.
Yeah, but why can't you convert them after you beat them? Why
Because
can't you make stipulation they've got to join the Wyatt family?
Dudley boys, you can't. It's like trying to put Daniel Bryan in there. It's just not going to work because they're too big and they're too over.
It's not going to work with Daniel Bryan, but it could work with I could make it work. I could make that work. I don't know.
I'd like to see it. I can't see it happening.
But I'm saying, right, so that was the only thing I was sitting there thinking. I was thinking, that would be kind of interesting. I'd maybe quite like that. But it probably won't happen, like I said. But Tommy Dreamer, bit underwhelmed by Tommy Dreamer's arrival because, like I said, I was expecting Spike. And what did you think of Tommy?
I wasn't too bothered about his return.
He's been everywhere, hasn't he? He's a journey.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred Spike. I don't know, like how active he is wrestling now. So maybe like they've gone with Dreamer because Spike mightn't be sort of active anymore. But it didn't feel like a great surprise. I thought like it was cool seeing him, but he's not someone that I want to see like all the time. I would have preferred them to like take out Dreamer and put him through a table like the Wyatts, obviously, and then sort of every week leading up to TLC. Then the Dudleys bring back someone else as kind of a legend from ECW, and the Wyatts always take them out. It makes the Wyatts look good, and then that leads into TLC where they finally bring out Spike. I thought that would be quite cool, but I don't know if Dreamer's really someone I want to see sticking around. Yeah, apparently he's been booked now until January.
Well, I'm just looking at this, right? So why couldn't you just gone down the route of the Dudley boys? Because I mean, we've got a lot of Dudleys that we could have picked from. Obviously, we've got Bubba Ray. We've got Devon, but we had Spike Dudley, we had Sign Guy Dudley, we had Big Dick Dudley, we've got Chubby Dudley, we've got Dances with Dudley, we've got Dudley, and we've got Snot Dudley. We had all of these Dudleys from the Dudley family, yeah? Whether it ECW, yeah? And they could have got any of these and could have, like, you know, made a little bit of a thing about this, made it a bit gimmicky. And they just chose Tommy Dreamer.
Well, how cool would that be if like they're all in the ring? Like the
Wyatts
Wyatts against the two Dudleys. The lights go out, and then the ring's surrounded by Dudleys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, give these guys a call. Like, particularly Spike. But I'm like saying, I think there was a big, well, I can't remember which one was the biggest Dudley. I think there was even one called the Big Daddy Dudley. But there was a lot of Dudleys. And if I was playing a drinking game, she could probably play a drinking game over the amount of Dudley time. Dudley. Who said Dudleys? It's crazy. But anyway, I'm just putting it out there. Oh, hold on. Even Joel Gertner was a Dudley. He was a Studley Dudley. Jesus, this is great. Oh, Jenna Jameson was Lady Dudley.
Was she?
Well, this is what it says. Associates.
Are you on Wikipedia?
Yeah, Jenna Jameson, Studley Dudley. The Bushwhackers, Butch Dudley and Luke Dudley.
See, I thought you were pulling this all from your memory. Really? You just Google everything during this show?
We had Schmuck Dudley. We've had, outside of ECW, we had Psycho Sam Dudley. We had Stacey Keebler, the Duchess of Dudleyville. And we had someone called Cousin Dudley who I've never fucking heard of. But
well, you always have a cousin you've never heard of.
That's a lot of Dudleys. You get me? Have I baffled you with the amount of
Well,
Dudleys?
I thought you were going to go and continue listing more. There's that many. I thought like it'd be cool to get some of the Dudleys back. But it's like, I don't know, WWE never seem to acknowledge them. It's always just been Spike and Stacey that's been brought in. I don't know. I think it'd be quite cool to get a lot of the Dudleys in, and it makes sense to have them go up against each other. It goes back to what we said about Survivor Series. You know, it's perfect to have the Wyatts against the Dudley family. So,
and you could have given Wyatt the win on this as well, which would have been even better. Like at the end of it, like get Wyatt. I mean, I just think you know you're talking about family here, and then you brought in Tommy Dreamer, kind of in putting over the ECW family connection. But you could have gone more out and gone for the entire Dudleys. It's just It would have made much better sense, and it would have been great because you could have pitched off like the whole Sister Abigail thing, and maybe potentially Wyatt bringing in a few more recruits. Bo Dallas could have been, reinvigorated. Opportunities missed again. Really, WWE? I can't get any high pitched than that, but there you go.
It is. It's a big missed opportunity. I think it would have been really cool, and I don't know. It just makes it feel like it's a good match to put Wyatt in against the Dudleys anyway, because it's one that they can win. I think regardless of who teams with the Dudley Boys, it's got to be a win for Bray. It's been a long time coming, and I think to beat the Dudleys in their own match, it kind of makes it bigger in a way. If you're putting the Dudleys through tables, kind of really sticks that to them, and I think that's the win that Bray Wyatt really does need.
Tommy Dreamer will be the whipping boy of this whole feud, and he always does that well, so that's fine. But it did look like he struggled to even stand up when he got in the ring on Monday Night Raw. His knees must be shot to pieces. He
doesn't look to be in great shape. I think that's another reason why, they could have gone with someone else or just used him as a one-off and then kept changing who comes in. It'd be like that John Cena thing where you're sitting waiting as well to see who they bring. And I think that'd be really cool.
Well, like I said, there were so many options, and like you don't have to like be an ECW mark to sort of like know all the Dudleys. They could have like made a little vignette about it, the family tree of the Dudleys. There's so many things you could have done with that. It was great. You could have got some ECW footage out. They own it, so they should be able to do that. I just think, again, just screaming out for you, and you didn't want to do it.
It is. It's the perfect situation, and for some reason they've just ignored it.
Is it a good move for the Wyatts to get in this feud? I mean, it is a step down from the Undertaker and Kane, but I think maybe they should never have gone with the Undertaker and Kane now, and maybe just progress with the Dudley Boys. Give them a victory, and they move on to something else. Then.
Well, I think so. I think like the Undertaker Kane was a bad idea. I think they could have gone with the Dudleys at Survivor Series. It would have made more sense to have like a family versus family match, and it kind of fits into the Survivor Series thing. And then it progresses into TLC where the feud gets bigger, the matches get bigger, and we get a tables match or a TLC match.
I think the only thing is like, what I said about maybe the Dudleys being recruited by them. That's what I'm looking for at the moment though. I am fishing for a payoff. Like something's got to give out of one of his feuds. Nothing ever gives out of any of Bray Wyatt's feuds. We said that all the time. Like he just moves to another one. If he took the Dudley Boys and recruited them, like he tried to do with Kane and the Undertaker or whatever he was trying to do, steal the fire and the wind and earth and whatever. If he'd just done that, if he did that with the Dudleys, wouldn't that give you a little bit more of a thought? Holy crap! Now he's got the Dudleys on his side. His faction is building and getting stronger and stronger. You just don't get that he's getting any stronger. Even if he wins this feud, he's not any stronger for it.
He's not. It's got to be like a really big performance where they really destroy the Dudley Boys. And unless we get that, a win, it's not really going to do too much for him. It'll be good to see him win. But I think it's just been a case that he's lost so much. We've all kind of lost faith in Wyatt at the moment. We need him to really go on a big run, which is probably something that's never going to happen, even though we constantly say that's what he needs. And I don't really see it coming.
But I know you said, oh, well, you wouldn't see that coming with the Dudleys. You couldn't imagine it. But wouldn't it make you sit up and take a bit more notice if he had people like the Dudleys behind him as well?
Not really. Because
Why?
I would be watching the Wyatt family and I wouldn't be thinking this is the Wyatt family. I would be thinking the Dudleys are in the Wyatt family. This is the Dudleys. When are they going to turn on them? When are they going to leave it? I think it would take the focus off of Bray.
But they never did that with the Ministry. They never turned, I think, Viscera and Mideon on the Undertaker, did they?
But would you be looking at the Wyatt family thinking, this is the Wyatt family, or the Dudleys are in the Wyatt family?
Well, yeah, but how do you ever expand the Wyatts if you're not going to look to those sort of areas to go down? Like,
well, you bring in people like Braun Strowman, where it's like a nobody that you don't associate with anything else.
Yeah, I guess so.
And he is big, powerful. He's got the look. He's got the physical attributes.
But he's not doing anything with them though. That's the
that's the problem with creative. It's the way that they get booked, and unfortunately, they're not booking them very well. Maybe it's leading to like what they mentioned for WrestleMania, where it could be a rumor of Strowman against The Undertaker, and it kind of goes back to The Undertaker taking on Giant Gonzalez, maybe like that kind of match type.
That's not really going to fly, is it? Let's be honest. Giant Gonzalez was a giant. Braun Strowman has already been Superman punched out a couple of times. I'm not going to take that seriously. That's a big W for the Undertaker there.
Well,
Easy.
it obviously is, but it's just a case of how the book Strowman going in the match. If they like make him a dominant force, he's throwing people through tables at TLC. He dominates in the Royal Rumble. Then maybe they could lead it to that where, you know, it makes it like quite a threat to see the Undertaker go up against that, especially the way the Undertaker's been. He's not being like the dominant Undertaker that we're used to seeing. So I think if they book it well, it could lead into a match like that. I don't really think there's many other people to go up against Undertaker aside from Sting, but we obviously don't know how fit he is, and we don't know if it even makes sense to have like the two faces go off against each other. So I think Strowman could be a good choice. It's just whether or not they book him well enough in the lead up to that to make it make sense.
Yeah, I already think that ship sailed. I don't really want to. I wouldn't have minded seeing Braun Strowman when he first come in against him, but seeing him get Superman punched by Roman Reigns and rattled around the ring just made me again go, nah. The Roman Express has destroyed someone else. So I don't know.
It's going to be the Roman Empire now. That's got to be the faction that goes up against the nation.
Great. Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the feud unfolds. Hopefully the Wyatts get the upper hand in this. If they fucking lose, I'd be fucking well depressed. But we'll wait and see. I mean, let's talk about a couple of little bits of news before we finally wrap up this week's We Talk. Randy Orton, you mentioned that his injuries are seemingly a big deal now. Like, he might not return for quite a while. So that's interesting.
It is. The latest that we kind of have on Orton, he's been off TV now and again. Like the last couple of years, he hasn't really had like a full run. He's been out with injuries and things. And the latest on it is that he was on Ric Flair's Woo Nation podcast. And Flair had basically revealed that Orton is out indefinitely at the moment with injury because he requires surgery on his shoulder. And apparently that's going to keep him out past WrestleMania 32. But the bigger news is following that, he also needs neck surgery. And that could keep him out of action for another 3 to 6 months. And again, like past that, he could need neck fusion surgery, which typically keeps people out for up to a year. So it could be that he is out of action for a long, long time here. Maybe it's the case where Orton has to ask himself, he's accomplished so much. Is this what he wants to do? Does he want to continue this? Is it going to be too much of a risk? Because these aren't like little niggling injuries. These are like really big things when it comes to your shoulder and especially your neck. If he carries on, is it going to be a case like Edge where he gets so close to pushing his body too far and it's going to end up really costing him and he has to really walk away from it? I think it could be his time now for Orton where he has to reevaluate his situation, whether he wants to do this and whether it's something that he's committed to doing, because he doesn't seem like someone over the last couple of years that has really been fully into wrestling. It's like he's just there for the ride, really. He's just tagging along. And I think now is a good time for him to maybe walk away and just take some time out, get these surgeries done, recover, not worry about coming back. And maybe in a couple of years' time, if he feels fit enough, he wants to return, it's something that he wants to do, then I'm sure by that time a lot will probably be looking forward to seeing Randy Orton return, where if he just rushes back, it's like same old Orton, Randy Orton, don't want to see him. But in time, maybe that'll change.
Yeah, Randy's kind of... Randy's always been someone that they rely on. So like they'd always go back to Randy, but then when they did book Randy in the end, it was always not that great. Like, you know, his championship run belittled him. You know, it wasn't that good. So it's a shame to hear that, you know, he's got all these niggling injuries with the shoulder and the neck, and that's a long time to probably be out for. So potentially, you know, he's probably weighing up his options now, whether or not he wants to go through all of that. If he wants to get back in the ring, it could be a case that could be the last we've seen of Randy Orton. But like you say, he's not really been utilised that much. He is kind of like, you know, a guy that they've had to go back to each time, and they're not really doing an awful lot with him. His championship run could have been really, really good, actually, I thought. But they played that whole, you know, authority trust card, and Batista got busy with, you know, movies, and he just didn't kind of come to much. And then he just got in, you know, had untold feuds with Sheamus. So If he wants to come back and feud with Sheamus a bit more, that's probably why he's got so many fucking injuries. Because
Well, I was going to say, he won't want to wrestle with Sheamus anymore, not after like all these injuries he's suffered. Like, those matches were really brutal. And it's like, if he was in a position where he had these niggling injuries to begin with, why are you booking him in those kind of matches? Like, surely that's what's led to this in the first place.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the problem. Is just he's gone through too many strong matches. I mean, he had when he was feuding with Cena and stuff. In any sort of feud he's been in, he has worked hard. It's not. I don't question his work ethic. I think he's just he knows a bit like the way Batista's spoken. WWE's not booking people that well these days, and I think that's why Batista originally wanted to come back, and then he got his movies. And why would he want to come back now and be booked in a crappy way? I wouldn't. If I'm Batista, I think I'll stick with my movies. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I think he's got all he needs to out of it. There's nothing for him to really come back for now. He's got that big promotion that he got when Guardians of the Galaxy come out. So I think going forward, he's in a position now where he doesn't need to come back. He's got the support. WWE probably going to promote his stuff anyway. And it's just a case of, Batista's now made it. He's a big star. He's in the Bond film. I don't think he needs to go back.
No, I think Batista's well and truly done with wrestling. I think he's almost announced it as well. And fair play to him, because I don't think they would have done a lot with Batista if they'd progressed with him. I mean, there was, he came in at a time when it was pro Daniel Bryan and it was just awkward for him. So, I mean, back to Orton, it's a shame, really, if let's say this is the end of his career like that. But I'm sure he can do plenty of other things behind the scenes, and I'm sure things like movies and stuff will also be on his radar. So yeah, over the last few years, the only reason why Orton's really been relevant in terms of what he's been doing is because of his RKO. So
yeah,
there's not much else you can sell on it and that. And when you're trying to bring through new guys, if you've got to keep relying on Randy, I'm pretty sure Randy would be happy to pass the torch as well. So yeah. So hopefully, obviously his injuries alone, hopefully he recovers, but might be the last time we've seen Randy Orton.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's going to be safe for these RKOs out in Norway for a while.
Yeah, the WWE roster will be thanking Randy for not, coiled and ready to strike. And last but not least, Lesnar is going to be back on TV soon. We gather him for the build for the Royal Rumble. What he's going to do, I don't know. Is he going to be in the Royal Rumble? I would like to think that should be his route.
I think so. I think it's going to be a question who he ends up facing if he wins the Royal Rumble.
Roman Reigns eliminates him?
Maybe. I think Reigns is like the obvious one to go with Seth being out. It kind of rematches what they had last year. I don't know. It's basically just a case that they've said that he's going to be appearing at the Royal Rumble. We don't know what capacity he's going to be in, but because of that, it says that he is going to be on TV leading up to it. Now, I don't know if that'll take place this month, because it seems like a strange time to bring him in, especially leading into TLC. Maybe we could see him after TLC, but then we've got like Christmas and New Year, and they usually do like slammies and just maybe like highlights type thing of what's happened over the last year. I think we usually get a show like that. So I could see it maybe being like the first week in January when they start bringing out the big guns, and that's when Lesnar returns, and we'll maybe see him on TV each week leading into the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I'm just hoping whatever they do with him, it's going to be something interesting. The issue is if he goes into the Royal Rumble and gets eliminated by like a Roman Reigns, it's going to be really shit, isn't it? To be honest, no. Yeah. And I could see WWE booking it that way, that he kind of topples the beast. I like Lesnar being on TV. I always think it's good. I think he's always a good draw. I really think he should harp on about that he wasn't involved in this championship tournament. I would be amazed if he didn't. And I think possibly a feud with the League of Nations could be on the card for him because he wants his title back. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it'd be cool to see him just run through the League of Nations, trying to get that title opportunity and just taking everyone out in the process. But at the same time, just putting together that faction, they need to become like a dominant force first. You don't want to just ruin them straight away.
What better way to sort of beat down the beast, keep him at bay? That's something that J&J Security managed to do a couple of times. So why can't they?
I don't know if like Sheamus against Lesnar would work though. Like I could see that being a really physical match, but it's like I guess Lesnar's going to be the face in that one. It doesn't sound like a match that would really sell a pay-per-view for me.
No, I kind of agree. because they've both got that hard-hitting style, it would be... I think it would be quite an entertaining match, but Lesnar usually works better off of like a more agile guy.
Yeah.
But that's why Roman... He had a good match with Roman Reigns. So,
yeah, it was a good match.
So, you know, Roman Reigns can move a bit better, I think, than Sheamus. Sheamus is just top-heavy, so... we'll have to wait and see. We'll see how it plays out. But it's interesting to know that Lesnar is on his way back, and hopefully for a good period of time.
Yep.
So, that brings us to the end of this week's We Talk. Have you got any of your shameless plugs this week?
Well, we've got some community showcases up this week on the Smack Talks channel. I'm going to try and get out a new series tomorrow if I get time with it. But aside from that, we've got on Smack Talks X, Rise of the Tomb Raider. So we've been playing through that. I'm going to try and put them out daily now for the rest of them, because there's a few more episodes to go. That's been an awesome game to play through. And then also, tonight sees the final episode in this series of Doctor Who. So if you're interested in Doctor Who, then check out the Smack Talks Revolution Regeneration X channel, as that's got all of TARDIS talk on there leading into this big finale. Got a big preview on there. And I've got a feeling I'm going to be devastated tonight when it's over.
Why are you going to be devastated?
Because this is like the last moments of Souffle Girl in Clara Oswald.
Souffle Girl? She know the Pope?
She's not. I thought you'd make that connection. But, yeah, she died. And there's a chance she could come back. We're going to wait and see. But apparently it's going to be a big cliff.
You can't come back if you're dead. You can't do that. It's not EastEnders.
Well, this is Doctor Who. It's all timey-wimey. Things happen out of order. Things can be changed.
Timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey. It's all timey-wimey.
That's a word, is it? Timey-wimey. That's a thing.
It is. It's a thing.
Have you recorded the theme yet?
Well, you mentioned you were going to get contracted to it, but seeing all these YouTubers throwing the hat in and, you know, putting out all these singles, music videos, it's like, who do I go with? There's so many people. Maybe I should just throw my hat in the ring and record something myself. Wow you all.
Choir
Leave you
boy.
wanting more.
Keyboard choir boy. Oh.
No, I can get choir boy in. we can do all sorts.
I'm not sure Smack Talks L rap would work.
Well, I don't think we'll go down that rap route. We'll save that for the lesser people like yourself with your intro.
More sort of like a sort of pop star sort of thing, like, you know.
Yeah, well, I can be a pop star. Thanks for the compliment.
How can you do that behind a keyboard?
Wait, you know, pop rock keyboard. I can make it work. I'm Smack Talks, damn it.
Ooh.
What would you do if you were doing the intro? Would this be rap? When we're going to hear the Delzinski rap? Because you've kind of rapped in the past on We Talk, putting together your rhymes.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something there. Is this something that we're going to see you move into? Could we see a Delzinski music video?
I've retired, isn't it? I'm like
on the beach.
I was like Jay-Z, you know, as before my time. So I had to, you know, chill out, retire from these sort of things, kick back.
We've all missed out.
And I could just like The Godfather, just sort of watch from the sidelines, you know. So
all these pretenders to your throne.
Chilled out entertainer, like yeah. That's what I'll do with Universe Mode one day. I'll just retire, take my throne.
What you need to do is have like John Cena on Universe Mode, like go back to rapping, and you can record the raps from.
But no, we can't
drop
do
some
that.
beats.
No, I don't like. I know it's going a little bit off topic. I don't like the impressions on Universe Mode. I don't like it. It's not my thing. I'm not like a lot of people said. Why don't you do the impressions on it? I think it devalues your Universe Mode to do impressions. Unless you're like a proper comedian and like obviously I'm a chilled out entertainer, of course. But I mean, unless you can like nail the impressions, I'm not a fan of it. You just sound like the same person every time. Sheamus and all sorts of stuff. It just doesn't work. Triple H. I mean, I'm not fond of it. I'd rather just have it there for you guys to read. I don't know. I mean, how do you do an impression of John Cena? The champ is here. That's all you can say.
That's not a great impression, though, is it? I can see where you're coming from, yeah.
So
maybe you could use like sound clips, though, clip something together.
Oh fucking hell! That'd take me like 10 years to do. You wouldn't get an episode for like a year if I did that. I just have John Cena. It won't
It'll
work.
be like the old school SmackDown commentary.
Yeah, it'd just be a nightmare. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's worth doing unless you're really good at commentary. I think it's not. I'm not sounding harsh to people that do it. I just think it devalues your product because people start laughing at it because they think, oh, that was a terrible impression when you're trying to get something like important across. So
Yeah, when you've got like a big feud and it's something you really want to promote, you don't want people sitting there sort of laughing at the sounding of it as opposed to like listening to what's going on. Why is coming up on Saturday night's main event though? Because it made a big triumphant return last week. Eventually, you finally got round to it. Kept all waiting.
Yeah. I had a few issues on the Saturday. I mean, I went out and we were trying to upload it and it was just wasn't working. It was just getting stupid. So I had to come home and I had to fix the file and then export it again. And then we got it up and going, and it was just a bit of a nightmare, but it's finally sorted. And for some reason, I gather it's the project, but it just takes forever to process. Like, you could start processing it hours before, and it just hangs, and like it's the YouTube processing that just does it. And because obviously, it takes a while to put together the episodes, we usually run up to the wire doing the episodes anyway, so that makes it difficult.
So we're not going to see a 3-hour main event in the future?
Well, you see an hour's worth pay-per-view anyway, and like I've always said, less is more. So if you give someone an hour a week for your universe mode, what are you going to give them on a pay-per-view? You've got to give them a 3-hour one. You're going to record for 3 hours and do that every month?
Well, that's a WWE problem. WrestleMania, 5-hour show.
Yeah, and you do that, and people go, 5 hours is too much for a wrestling show. See, less is more. So that's my take on it. There you go. That's a tip for universe mode. Less is more. And don't be lazy as well, because lazy universe modes are just ain't gonna work.
I'll make some notes for when I start mine.
Yeah, I don't know if XSplit works for it.
What?
Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Anyway, so yeah, universe mode tonight. It's going to be good. We've got quite a lot going on. I don't really want to give too much away because I was working on something, and if I get time, I'll put that up before Universe Mode goes live. I'll probably say Universe Mode will be up at about 10 p.m. tonight. So, yeah, that's the time I expect to get it going. Interesting matches, new people coming in, development towards Survivor Series as per. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. And also as well on my channel, if you didn't see it yesterday, I released a video about Gemra, which is like a collector's app, and it's something where you can share all your collections. For me, I collect WWE stuff. I collect Transformers, Marvel bits and bobs. And it's just a great place to showcase all of your items. So if you want to check that out as well, then do so. You can sign up. I've got a link in the description box below. And you can follow me. I've had quite a few already, so I'm going to accept them today. And I'm going to check out their collection. So it's all good.
Sounds cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yes, indeed. Do so. So I guess that brings us to the end of this week's We Talk. And lots of things to talk about. The League of Nations, Sheamus, the party animal, the party invader, the party provider. Sheamus. Do you like that?
He's took over Adam Rose, hasn't he?
I know, yes. And Rusev and Lana, they're never going to go all the way. But if they had a Skype session with Sonny, then they might do. So, talk about that. And last but not least, the Wyatts and the Dudleys. Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it ugly? Or would you like to see the Dudleys with the Wyatts? That's my question to you guys. Let me know via the comment section below. And let Paul know as well.
Absolutely. Let me know.
Cool. So, are you going to catch us later?
Catch you later.
Yes, this is Delzinski and Smack Talks. And just to reiterate, that's Delzinski and Smack Talks because the show is between us both. That's why we're on it. Dipshit. This is Delzinski signing out.
Hi, wrestling fans and gamers. Velvet Sky here, and I just want to say I've been hearing a rumor that Delzinski.com is the best place for video gaming and wrestling content.